Captain Alara Vance stood on the observation deck of the starship Aurora, staring out at the swirling colors of the distant nebula. The light shimmered in waves of green and purple, reflecting off the metal walls and casting an eerie glow on the faces of her crew. They were about to enter a sector that no human ship had fully explored, a system controlled by the alien species known as the Bloodweavers. Alara adjusted her uniform and took a deep breath. Humans were fragile compared to the alien species, but she had always believed that courage, intelligence, and quick thinking were sometimes stronger than strength. Today, she would prove it. The Bloodweavers were a tall, sleek species. Their skin like polished bronze and eyes that seemed to see straight into one's thoughts. They had a strange ability. They could sense intentions through touch. One wrong move could trigger a defensive reaction so strong that humans could easily be injured. For centuries, humans had avoided direct contact with them. "Captain, sensors. Detect multiple Bloodweavers on the landing platform," reported Lieutenant Harold. His voice was steady, but Alara sensed the tension. Every member of her team knew the risk, yet they followed her without hesitation. "Good," Alara replied, her eyes sparkling with determination. "We are here to make first contact. Remember, we are diplomats first, scientists second, and above all, we are humans. That counts for something." The shuttle doors hissed open as they touched down. The platform was wide and metallic, stretching into the fog of the alien world. The Bloodweavers emerged from the mist like shadows, tall and graceful. Their eyes glowed faintly, a sign of heightened awareness. One of them stepped forward. Its voice was a strange mix of melody and vibration, making the air seem alive. "Human," it said, its tone cold. "Do not touch. Touch me again, and I will drain your blood." The crew froze. The warning was terrifying, but Alara only smiled. There was something about the calmness in her expression that surprised the alien. "I understand," she said softly, holding up her hands in a gesture of peace. "But we are here to learn, not to harm." The alien's eyes narrowed. A ripple of tension passed through the group, as if the very air had grown heavier. Alara knew that the Bloodweavers valued bravery and honesty. Fear could be sensed immediately, but confidence, real confidence, was harder to detect. Stepping forward, Alara extended her hand. Not aggressively, not carelessly, but with careful intent. The alien studied her, its eyes flicking from her hand to her face. Then, in a move that shocked her team, it allowed her to make the slightest contact. A shiver ran through her, not of fear, but of energy. The Bloodweaver's power was subtle but undeniable. Alara felt her heart beat steady, and a strange warmth filled her chest. She smiled. The alien recoiled slightly, then studied her more closely. "Curious," it murmured, almost to itself. "Humans, you feel nothing?" Alara shook her head. "We feel everything. But fear? Fear doesn't help us. We learn from it, we use it, but we do not give it power over us." The alien blinked. Her words were strange, unfamiliar, yet somehow understandable. The crew let out small sighs of relief, but they remained on edge. The Bloodweavers were unpredictable, and any mistake could be dangerous. "Come," the alien said finally, stepping aside. "We will test your kind. If you pass, you may enter our city. If you fail..." It left, the sentence unfinished, a silent threat that sent shivers down the spines of even the bravest humans. Alara walked forward with her crew behind her. Her eyes swept over the platform, noting every detail. The glowing symbols etched into the metal floor, the patterns in the mist, the way the aliens' movements were precise and synchronized. Everything here was calculated. Everything here had a purpose. "This is incredible," whispered Harold, his voice barely audible. "They move like a single organism." "They are amazing," Alara said, not taking her eyes off the lead alien. "But humans are unpredictable, and sometimes that is our greatest strength." As they advanced, the alien suddenly reached out. Its fingers were long and delicate, but their movement was commanding. Ilara instinctively raised her hand to block, but before she could react, it touched her shoulder lightly. A surge of energy ran through her. Her vision blurred for a moment, but she stayed calm, breathing steadily. Around her, the other humans tensed, fearing the worst. But Ilara did not flinch. Instead, she smiled again. The alien paused. Its eyes widened slightly, a hint of astonishment. You are not afraid," it said. "I am cautious," Ilara replied, her voice steady, "but fear does not control me." The alien studied her silently for a moment, then slowly withdrew. "Interesting," it said. "Your kind may survive, if you continue to prove yourself." Ilara nodded, feeling a thrill of both relief and excitement. The encounter had been dangerous, yes, but it had also shown something important. Humans were not to be underestimated. They were small, fragile, and different, but they had courage, intelligence, and adaptability, qualities that even the Bloodweavers had not expected. The rest of the crew followed, still wary, but inspired. They had entered alien territory without weapons, relying on diplomacy, wit, and trust in their captain. Every step forward was a test, but Ilara's calm and confident presence guided them. As they reached the gates of the alien city, the mist began to clear, revealing a world unlike anything humans had ever seen. Towers shimmered like crystals. Rivers of liquid light flowed through the streets, and in the distance, more Bloodweavers watched with curious eyes. Ilara turned to her team. "Remember," she said softly, "we are human. That alone is a kind of power they do not expect. Let's show them who we are." And with that, they stepped into the city, the warning echoing in her mind. "Touch me again, and I will drain your blood." Ilara smiled, thinking to herself, and I just did it anyway. The gates of the Bloodweavers' city shimmered like liquid glass as Ilara Vance and her crew stepped through. The air was thick with a strange energy, almost alive, humming softly, in a rhythm that seemed to echo the beating of a heart. Every surface, every tower, and every street sparkled with lights that changed color as the humans moved. Ilara's eyes widened in awe, but she did not let her fascination distract her. She had a mission: to understand the Bloodweavers and prove that humans could earn respect even in an alien world where every move was scrutinized. "Stay close," she whispered to her team. "Observe, but do not touch unless I say so. And remember, fear is a signal they can sense. Control your feelings and you control your strength." The lead alien, whom the humans had nicknamed Veil, floated silently beside them, its bronze skin reflecting the lights around. Its eyes, wide and unblinking, seemed to measure every heartbeat, every breath. The humans felt a strange pressure in their minds, as if the alien could sense not just their actions but their intentions. "This city is getting beautiful," whispered Lieutenant Harold, "and terrifying at the same time." Ilara nodded. "Yes, but that is exactly why we are here. Humans can turn fear into opportunity. We adapt, we survive, and we can learn from this." They were led into a large open chamber. At its center was a glowing pool of liquid light, swirling gently, casting moving reflections on the walls. Around it were several platforms floating in midair, each pulsing with energy. The humans could feel the vibrations through the floor, subtle but insistent. Veil's melodic voice broke the silence. "This is your first test. Humans, prove your worth. Navigate the energy field and reach the far platform without hesitation." The crew stared. The platform seemed harmless at first, but subtle flashes of light traveled along their surfaces. Any wrong step could send energy pulses through the floor. For a human, it could be shocking, even dangerous. Ilara stepped forward. "We will try. Together." She looked at her team and smiled. "Remember what I said. Fear does not help us. Focus on thinking, not reacting." The first human, a young engineer named Mika, hesitated. Her hand shook slightly as she prepared to step onto the first platform. Alara walked beside her. "Breathe," she said. "Feel the rhythm. Listen to the energy, don't fight it." Mika nodded and stepped onto the platform. The light pulsed beneath her feet, but she remained steady. One by one, the team followed, with Alara guiding their pace and focus. Vale's voice echoed, calm but deliberate. "Unexpected. Your kind moves with thought. Most creatures react with fear. Humans, you consider before acting." Alara smiled. "That's right. We may be small, but we are careful and clever." As they reached the second platform, the energy field shifted. The light swirled faster and the vibrations became stronger. A wave of fear swept through the humans, but Alara remained calm. She could feel the pressure, the subtle warning the alien energy gave. It was almost like the energy wanted to test their minds, not their bodies. "Step with me," she whispered to Harold. "Synchronize with my rhythm." Together, they moved across the platform. Each step required timing and focus. Any mistake could trigger a pulse of energy that would knock them off balance. The humans began to notice a pattern. The energy pulsed in a sequence: fast, slow, medium, then pause. Observing the rhythm, they moved more confidently, turning fear into careful calculation. Vale floated above them, silent now, observing. Even it seemed surprised by the humans' ability to adapt. "Curious," it murmured. "Your kind. You do not rely on strength or instinct alone. You think, you learn, you adjust." Alara reached the final platform, the one farthest Fentren. The morning sun of the alien city painted the towers in golden and violet hues. Captain Alara Vance and her team stood at the edge of a floating plaza, overlooking a vast energy field that shimmered like liquid crystal. The field pulsed rhythmically, casting dancing reflections across the human faces. "This," said Vale, the lead blood weaver, "is your second test. Humans, prove your worth by navigating this field to the center. Only then may you touch the orb of knowledge." The humans looked at each other, eyes wide. The energy field seemed harmless at first glance, but subtle currents of light moved, unpredictably. A misstep could trigger a pulse strong enough to knock them off balance or worse, cause the energy to react in a way that humans could not predict. Alara stepped forward, her gaze steady. "Remember what we learned yesterday," she said. "Fear is useless. Observe, plan, and act. One step at a time. Trust your instincts and each other." Her team nodded, drawing courage from her calm voice. Lieutenant Harold adjusted his gloves and whispered, "It looks impossible. How are we supposed to walk on light?" Alara smiled. "Nothing humans can't do. We adapt, we improvise, and we persist. That's what sets us apart." She moved first, testing the rhythm of the pulses. Each wave of energy was slightly different from the one before, and she noticed patterns forming. Fast, medium, slow, pause, then repeat. Using this rhythm, she placed her feet carefully, stepping with precision and balance. The energy rippled around her, but she remained steady. "Focus on the timing," she instructed her team. "The field responds to our motion. If we move with it, it cannot harm us." One by one, the humans followed her lead, learning to sense the flow of energy beneath their feet. They moved as a team, whispering guidance to each other, making small adjustments and helping anyone who stumbled. Mika, the young engineer, hesitated at the halfway point. The field's pulses had become faster, brighter, and more unpredictable. A flicker of doubt crossed her face. Alara reached her side. "Breathe," she said softly. "The field is not trying to hurt you. It is asking you to think, not react. Observe, then act. You've got this." Mika nodded and mirrored Alara's steps. Slowly, carefully, she crossed the remaining platforms to join the captain. Vale observed silently, its glowing eyes narrowing. "Impressive," it said finally. "Your kind adapts in ways unexpected. Few creatures can survive even half the field, and yet you move as though you were born to it." Alara shook her head. We are not perfect, but we learn. That is our strength. Intelligence, observation, and teamwork, qualities your species seems to respect. The final stretch of the energy field shimmered brighter than before, almost blinding. The humans felt the pulses in their bones, subtle vibrations that could disturb balance. Harold took a deep breath, watching Alara as she stepped forward. "Step with me," she whispered. "Synchronize your movements with mine. We finish this together." The team followed, careful not to rush. The field seemed to test their patience, shifting slightly with each movement. But Ilara's calm presence guided them. Every step was deliberate, every pause intentional. The humans moved in harmony with each other and with the rhythm of the field. As they reached the center, the orb of knowledge floated above a pedestal, glowing softly. It was a translucent sphere, filled with swirling light patterns that seemed alive. Alara extended her hand, feeling the energy around the orb. She did not fear it. Instead, she studied it, noticing subtle fluctuations that could reveal its secrets. The orb responded to her touch, pulsing gently in sync with the energy field. Vale's voice echoed around them. "Human, your courage and intelligence are extraordinary. You have passed the second test." Ilara looked at her team, pride filling her chest. "We did it," she said. "Together, step by step, trusting each other." Vale floated closer, its gaze curious. "Few species can survive both tests. Your kind is unusual. You are not the strongest, not the fastest, yet you succeed. Why?" Ilara smiled. "We may not be strong in the way you expect, but humans survive because we think, we learn, and we work together. Our minds and our hearts are our power." The alien seemed to pause, considering her words. Its eyes flickered, reflecting something almost like admiration. "Perhaps your kind is worthy," it said finally. "We will see if the final challenge confirms this." Alara's heart raced with anticipation. She knew the final test would push them further, but she also knew humans had a unique advantage. They never gave up, even in the face of uncertainty. As they moved back to the platform's edge, Harold whispered, "Captain, the orb. It felt like it recognized you." Alara nodded thoughtfully. "It responds to understanding, not fear. Knowledge is something humans seek relentlessly. That is why we survive, and that is why we thrive." The team rested briefly, catching their breath and studying the patterns of the energy field. Ilara looked at them, her expression resolute. "The third test will not just challenge our bodies, but our minds. Remember, courage is nothing without thought. Humans are clever because we learn from everything, even fear." The sun climbed higher, casting beams of shimmering light across the energy field. The humans knew that beyond this test lay challenges they could not yet imagine, but they also knew that their greatest strength, the human spirit, was with them. Ilara gazed at the orb of knowledge once more. It pulsed gently, as if acknowledging her courage. "Step by step," she whispered, "we will show them what humans can do." And with that, they prepared for the trials ahead, ready to face every challenge with intelligence, courage, and unity. The Bloodweavers watched silently, their expressions unreadable as humans continued to prove that even the smallest and most fragile beings could overcome the greatest of tests. The humans had barely caught their breath after the second test, when Vale led them deeper into the city. The towers glimmered with colors that seemed impossible, and every surface pulsed faintly with energy. The streets were quiet now, as if the city itself was holding its breath, waiting to see what the humans would do next. "Ilara," Harold whispered, "what is the final test? I feel like each one gets harder than the last." Ilara smiled calmly. "That is the point, Lieutenant. They want to see how far we can think, not just how far we can endure." The group arrived at a massive chamber, much larger than any they had seen before. In the center floated a glowing sphere of energy, larger than the orb of knowledge, crackling softly with light. Surrounding it were panels and conduits that pulsed in rhythm with the sphere, creating waves that rippled through the room. Vale's voice echoed through the chamber. Final test. Humans, interact with the energy sphere. Discover its nature. Understand it. Only then may you complete the trials. The humans looked at each other, uncertainty in their eyes. This was different. The sphere was not a platform or field to cross. It was alive, almost sentient. A wrong approach might trigger a reaction they could not anticipate. Ilara stepped forward. She could feel the energy radiating from the sphere, subtle vibrations that seemed to react to her movements. It reminded her of the energy field in the previous test, but this was more complex, more intelligent. Team, she said softly, this is not about force. This is about observation. Watch, think, then act. Mika stepped closer and extended a hand, feeling the sphere's pulse through the air. She flinched slightly as a wave of warmth ran up her arm. It's like it's alive, she whispered. Exactly, Ilara said. And it responds to understanding, not fear. Watch it carefully. Notice the patterns. Every movement has meaning. They studied the sphere for several minutes. The pulses of light were not random. They followed sequences almost like a language. Every reaction from the sphere seemed tied to intention and precision. The humans realized that the sphere was testing more than courage. It was testing intelligence, perception, and reasoning. Ilara stepped closer and observed how the energy responded to her hand movements. Each gesture caused a slight ripple, but the sphere's reaction changed depending on her speed and position. She gestured slowly, deliberately, tracing patterns she had seen in human mathematics and engineering. The sphere pulsed in rhythm with her motion, almost as if approving. It's like a puzzle, she murmured. We don't fight it. We understand. Yet the team followed her lead. They moved carefully, mapping patterns, noting repetitions, and adjusting their actions. Each successful step caused the sphere to glow brighter and ripple with more harmony. Vale floated nearby, silent but watching. Its voice when it spoke carried a tone of respect. Humans, your approach is unusual. You do not dominate the energy. You learn from it. You adapt. Few species can do this. Ilara nodded. That is the essence of humanity. We survive not by overpowering, but by observing, reasoning, and working together. That is how we thrive in any environment. As they worked together, they discovered that the sphere responded most strongly when they synchronized their movements, as a team. Each gesture reinforced the others, and the ripples of energy combined into a single harmonious wave. Harold gasped. It's like it's listening to us, not threatening us. Yes, Ilara said. We are not here to force it. We are here to communicate with it. Understanding is our strength. Slowly, the sphere began to float higher, the room glowing with a soft, golden light. The pulses became rhythmic, like a heartbeat, and the humans could feel a connection forming. It was as if the energy itself recognized the diligence and courage in the. After completing the trials, Captain Ilara Vance and her crew were escorted through the glowing streets of the Bloodweavers' city. The towering structures shimmered in every color of the spectrum, casting reflections that danced across the smooth metallic surfaces. The city felt alive, almost as if it were observing them, waiting for the humans to prove that they belonged. Ilara, whispered Mika, glancing at the alien towers. Do you think they really respect us now? Ilara smiled, her eyes focused, on the path ahead. Respect isn't given, it's earned. And we've done more than survive. We've shown them courage, intelligence, and teamwork. That is something even their strongest might not expect. Vale led them into a large hall, its walls alive with shimmering patterns of energy that seemed to communicate silently. Other blood weavers appeared, taller and more imposing than the ones they had first encountered. Yet, unlike before, they did not seem hostile. Instead, their eyes reflected curiosity and cautious admiration. You have completed our tests, Vale said, its melodic voice echoing in the chamber. Few species would have succeeded. Humans, you are unusual, clever, persistent, brave. Ilara stepped forward. We are human. That means we think, we adapt, and we work together. We do not rely on strength alone. That is how we survive in any world, no matter the challenge. The alien paused, then nodded slowly. We have watched you. Your actions are different. Most creatures rely on power or instinct. Your kind relies on understanding. That is a quality worthy of recognition. Ilara looked at her team. It's more than that. It's about trust. We trust each other, and when we trust, we are stronger than any challenge. The Blood Weavers seemed to consider this. Then, Vale gestured toward a platform in the center of the hall. It hovered above the ground, glowing softly. On it rested a device of alien design, intricate and complex with panels that pulsed like hearts. This device, Vale explained, controls the flow of energy in the city. We will allow you to study it, interact with it, and suggest improvements. Only species worthy of collaboration may touch it. Harold gasped softly. They're giving us a part of their city's power systems and to study? Ilara nodded. Yes. They want to see not only what we can do, but how we think. This is our chance to show that humans contribute through intelligence and creativity, not just courage. They approached the device carefully. The energy pulsed as they neared, and subtle vibrations traveled through the floor. Ilara studied its design, noting patterns and sequences. Though alien in construction, it had logic, and logic was something humans excelled at. Mika touched one of the panels lightly. The energy shifted, responding to her touch. It's sensitive, she whispered. Good, Ilara said. That means we need precision, thought, and teamwork. Step by step. The team began analyzing the device, discussing possible adjustments, and testing their ideas. They were cautious but confident, moving as a coordinated unit. Each success caused the energy to flow more smoothly, a visible wave that moved across the city's systems. Vale observed silently, occasionally murmuring, Your kind, remarkable. You improve what you do not fully understand. Most creatures would break it, yet you enhance it. Ilara glanced at the alien. We are humans. Observation, learning, adaptation. These are our strengths. We make mistakes, but we learn from them quickly. That is why we succeed where others may fail. Minutes passed, but the humans did not falter. Slowly, the energy wave grew steadier, more controlled. The city's pulse seemed to align with their actions. Even Vale seemed surprised. Finally, Ilara touched the final panel. The energy surged briefly, then settled into a calm, harmonious rhythm. The room glowed warmly, and the humans felt a quiet sense of triumph. You have done well, Vale said, its voice carrying a rare note of approval. You have demonstrated courage, intelligence, and empathy. Few species can navigate challenges while considering the whole system. Your kind is exceptional. Ilara smiled at her team. This is the result of trust, communication, and persistence. Humans achieve more together than alone. That is our power. The Blood Weavers seemed to relax, the tension in the room fading. For the first time, the humans felt that they were not merely visitors, but partners in this alien city. The trials had tested their courage, their intelligence, and now their ability to contribute. Vale approached Ilara. You have taught us something unexpected. Strength is not only in power or dominance. Strength is also in thinking, learning, and collaborating. Humans, your kind is extraordinary. Ilara bowed slightly. We are grateful for the opportunity to prove ourselves. Humans thrive when challenged. That is how we grow and how we survive. The alien seemed to consider her words for a long moment. Perhaps your kind can teach others as well. Not just humans, but all who live here. Courage, intelligence, and unity, these are qualities worth spreading. Ilara's heart swelled with pride. The humans had not only survived the challenges, they had gained respect, trust, and even a place in the alien city. Their strength lay not in weapons or force, but in qualities that no alien could easily match. Courage tempered by thought, bravery guided by intelligence, and teamwork rooted in trust. Mika whispered, "Captain, I never imagined we could reach this point. They actually respect us." Ilara nodded. Respect is earned, yes, and it is more meaningful than fear. Humans may be small and fragile, but we shine brightest when we use our minds and hearts. That is why we survive, and that is why we will continue to thrive, no matter the world we face. The city around them seemed less intimidating now, alive with quiet energy that no longer felt threatening. The Bloodweavers watched, silent but attentive, as the humans moved with purpose, proving that even in an alien world, human ingenuity, courage, and unity could turn challenges into triumphs. As they prepared to leave the hall, Ilara looked at the glowing towers outside. "This is just the beginning," she said to her team. "There will be more challenges, more tests, and more opportunities. But we now know the power of who we are. Humans are clever, brave, and united. That is something no one can take from us." And with that, they stepped out into the city once more, ready to face whatever came next, confident that the respect they had earned was a bridge between worlds, a bridge that humans would continue to build, step by step, challenge by challenge, with courage and intelligence as their guide. The city of the Bloodweavers glowed softly under the light of the alien sun. Captain Ilara Vance and her team walked through the streets with a sense of calm confidence. The challenges had tested them in ways they had never imagined, yet they had passed each one through courage, intelligence, and teamwork. "Can you believe we're here?" Mika whispered, glancing at the floating towers around them. "It feels almost like we belong." Ilara smiled. "We belong because we earned it. Respect is not given, it is proven. And today we've proven who we are." Vale approached, floating with the grace that had always seemed both beautiful and intimidating. Its bronze skin shimmered in the sunlight, and its eyes, glowing softly, reflected something almost like admiration. "Humans," Vale said, "you have completed the trials. You have demonstrated qualities that few species possess: courage, intelligence, unity, empathy. Your kind has shown us that strength is not only in force, but in understanding and cooperation." Ilara nodded. "We are human. That is how we survive. We face fear with thought, challenges with teamwork, and the unknown with curiosity." Vale's eyes flickered. "You have taught us something unexpected. Most species see energy and danger as obstacles. Humans, you see possibilities. That is remarkable." The humans were led to a wide terrace overlooking the city's central energy core. The core pulsed like a living heart, spreading energy throughout the city. Ilara studied it carefully, noticing the patterns, the rhythms, the ways the energy responded to presence. "This is incredible," Harold said softly. "We've helped stabilize part of the city's energy, and they trust us enough to show this?" Ilara nodded. "Yes. Trust is earned through action, through thought, through courage. That is the difference humans make." Vale spoke again. "The orb of knowledge, the energy fields, the sphere, you have mastered all. Now there is one final opportunity. Will your kind help us improve our systems? Will you guide us to new possibilities using what you have learned?" Ilara glanced at her team. Each member was exhausted, but proud. They had faced challenges that tested every part of them, body, mind, and spirit, and they had come out stronger. "We will," Ilara said firmly. "Humans share knowledge, not just power. We learn, we teach, and we improve together. That is how we thrive." Vale nodded, its expression thoughtful. "Then let this be the beginning of collaboration, not just observation. Humans, your kind may be small and fragile, yet you shine where others falter. Your actions will leave a legacy here." The humans began working with the Bloodweavers, sharing ideas, studying the city's energy systems, and making careful improvements. Every adjustment they suggested was thoughtful and precise, and the aliens observed each move with growing respect. Hours passed, and the city itself seemed to respond. The energy flowed smoother, towers glowed brighter, and the entire environment felt more alive. It was a silent acknowledgement that the humans' presence was more than tolerated. It was celebrated. Mika whispered, "Captain, we're really making a difference." Ilara smiled. "We always have, Mika. Humans survive and thirst and theo.